This one's gonna be about motivation. I assume at least maybe I'm gonna just talk about something different this episode. Wouldn't be the first time. But yeah, see you after the intro. The not fake intro, I guess. But yeah, with that being said, hello, welcome back to the next episode of the Self-Development with Tactics fucking podcast. And I'm so fucking pumped to be here. Something that I've forgotten right now is my blanket. I do just have a little bit of just anti-echo just set up here, which is actually a plastic bag, some underwear and a towel. But yeah, I guess I also need my fucking blanket. Because I assume, at least as I've seen, it actually does make a difference. And this is good. Wow. And this is great. Because the quality gets a little bit better. At least a little tiny bit. And I think this little tiny bit is enough for me actually just doing it. So yeah. Hello and welcome. We're going through the James Clear article on motivation once again as yesterday. Yesterday, the last episode was also about it. So if you want to check it out. Or if you're interested in motivation and what motivation actually is, which was the topic from yesterday's video, then check out the other one. Maybe you're seeing it on the right sidebar if you're on YouTube. If you're on a podcast, it is directly the one beneath this one. So it should be 379 or something. So yeah, check it out if you want to. And yeah, we go ahead with this article and we go ahead with nothing, apparently. But we go ahead with, please no, with this one, which is how to get motivated and take action. I still don't know if I've gone through something similar like this already. I assume I have, just because some parts of it just seem to be so, familiar, I guess. But the thing is, I don't really know, therefore, I'm just still gonna go through it. But yeah, so therefore, how to get motivated and take fucking action. Many people struggle to find the motivation they need to achieve the goals they want to because they're wasting too much time and energy on other parts of the process. Which is definitely the case, which is really fucking the case. And this just really is correlated to just giving a fuck or just giving a fuck about what really matters. And often it is actually the case that a bunch of things, and I do just remember that I should probably turn off all the notifications that I'm having. Yeah, everything's done. It is deeply correlated with actually giving a fuck about the things that actually do not matter. Like quality. Well, it still matters. It does matter, but it doesn't matter as much as people think it does, which is the funny thing. And I do get it. I still care about the quality a little bit too much, maybe. But yeah, that's fine, I guess. The thing is really, people care about things that do not really matter. They just, I don't know. Like a lot of people, they do care about things that do not matter, like just the really minor things and not the major things, those things that are like, I don't know, just really small things, I guess. But yeah. So if you want to make it easy to find motivation and get started, then it helps to automate the early stages of your behavior. The early stages of your behavior. I hope the chewing gum makes my voice a little bit wetter. It just sounds so dumb. It really does. First of all, because just I'm speaking and I'm having a fucking chewing gum in my mouth. First of all, this, and actually doing it, is fucking dumb. Because the chances are pretty high that I'm just spitting in my microphone and you can hear all the fluid. On the other hand, just sounding like a fucking, dwarf also isn't the best thing. Therefore, I'm gonna try it out. The next thing is schedule your motivation, which sounds to be a little bit crazy, which is really then okay, you have your motivation and it is always available and you can somehow choose when you're getting motivated or not. Maybe it is what it is. I don't know. So during a conversation about writing, my friend Sarah Peck, I don't know who Sarah Peck is, looked at me and said, a lot of people never get around to writing because they are always wondering when they are going to write next. You could say the same thing about working out, starting a business, creating art, and building most habits. It really is the case. Like, people wonder, and people are pretty... the funny thing is, something that I've heard somewhere, and I still don't remember where it was, from where it was, but people seem to be just really kind of positive about the future, but not so positive about the present nor the past, which is relatively interesting, I have to say. We're pretty optimistic. This is the word that I was searching for. We're pretty optimistic in terms of the future, but in terms of the present, it's like, yeah. But we're just fucking optimistic about the future, which is pretty interesting. But in the end, it is then like, we don't do shit. Quite often. And I'm just on purpose saying we, because I do not want to be like, I'm the best, I'm doing my shit. It is not always the case. I sometimes also do not the shit that I just maybe should be doing, or maybe should also not be doing. I don't know. The thing is, people are really, really, really fucking optimistic about the future. And I guess one of the other things that you just should be doing is just doing stuff. Like, it is relatively easy. The thing is, the starting point is pretty difficult. To start is pretty difficult, but once you have just began your journey, once you've begun the process, I think it gets a little bit easier. Still, then when everything is plateauing a little bit and everything is just getting like, I do not want to say worse, but somehow worse, then it gets difficult again. I do think that just, life is really like a roller coaster, isn't it? So if your workout doesn't have a time when it usually occurs, then each day you'll wake up thinking, I hope I feel motivated to exercise today. If your business doesn't have a system for marketing, then you will show up at work crossing your fingers that you will find a way to get the word out, in addition to everything else you have to do. If you don't have a scheduled time when you write every week, then you will find yourself saying things like, I just need to find the willpower to do it. What I'm seeing there is, like he says, just schedule the fucking shit. Just having a plan. And I do believe in general that having a plan is pretty important. And it's pretty just good as well. Also for yourself. Just because maybe I should also do it. The thing is, every day is somehow different. And it somehow gets pretty fucked up. But I still think that having a plan and having just somehow a little structure in your day is really important, or can be really important, if you're not the most motivated person. Because I don't know, as I always say, when motivation isn't there, discipline kicks in. And I guess if you do have the discipline of just doing it every single day at the exact same time, I think you also get just somehow a habit of just being in the mood of doing it, which means you're doing just the writing thing on 10 o'clock every single day. I guess every single day when it is 10 o'clock, you just feel somehow like doing it. Or you're just doing it. No matter how you feel it or how you feel about it, you're just gonna do it. Which is at least a thing that I recognize sometimes. Sometimes I do not really feel like, recording, doing the posts, different things. I just don't feel like it, but I still do them. Just because of discipline, because of grit, whatever it is, I just do it. Yeah. Let's actually see. So an article in The Guardian summarized the situation by saying, if you waste resources trying to decide when or where to work, you will impede your capacity to do the work. So setting a schedule for yourself seems simple, but it puts your decision making on autopilot, but by giving your goal a time and a place to live. I think it is the exact same thing as I said, it is then really like an autopilot thing. You're really on autopilot then, just because you're doing it every single day and it gets a habit, and it's really okay, when the fucking clock hits 10 o'clock, then it's I have to fucking write. At least I assume it is. And I don't know, we human beings are just so habitual, if this is a word. I don't think so, but we just really have a habit for fucking everything. If it is about eating, we're gonna eat the exact same time every single day. If it's about something else, we're just doing it the exact same day, like time, I don't know, when the sun is rising, just some weird shit as well. Yeah, we're just pretty like having a lot of habits, a lot of bad ones as well, which is the downside of them, but a lot of good ones, possibly, theoretically, potentially, whatever. Setting a schedule for yourself seems simple, but it puts your decision-making on autopilot. By giving your goals a time and place to live, it makes it more likely that you will follow through regardless of your motivation levels. And there are plenty of research studies on willpower and motivation to back up that statement. Stop waiting for motivation or inspiration to strike you and set a schedule for your habits. This is the difference between professionals and amateurs. Professionals set a schedule and stick to it. Amateurs wait until they feel inspired or motivated. I wouldn't say so necessarily, just because I think especially in the kind of art department or section of life, or just professionals in art spaces, I think a lot of them are just really not organized, as far as I've just recognized it, or as far as I've actually seen it by just, attending a fucking graphic design school, which is basically an art school, where there are also teachers, of course. Like, you can totally see, like, some of them are just really, just wanted to say that some of them are just really a mess, but they are not. Like, I think they just still have some sort of structure and organization, but in their way, From an outside perspective, it might seem to be, like, just pretty not organized, but in the end, I guess it could really be, like, pretty organized. But yeah. So how to get motivated even when you don't feel like it? How do some of the most prolific, whatever prolific means, what does prolific mean? Let's see. The plant bears a prolific crop of large, firm tomatoes. Plentiful, abundant, bountiful, profuse, copious, luxuriant, rich, lush. Okay, still don't know. Amazing. So how do some of the most prolific artists in the world motivate themselves? They don't merely set schedules, they build rituals. Well, so Twyla Tharp, I guess at least, is widely regarded as one of the greatest dancers and choreographers of the modern era. In her best-selling book, The Creative Habit, which seems to be also available as an audiobook, Tharp discusses the role rituals or pre-game routines have played in her success. And now there's a quote. I'm gonna read the quote, obviously, but yeah, just to let you know. So I begin each day of my life with a ritual. I wake up at 5:30 a.m., put on my workout clothes, my leg warmers, my sweatshirts and my hat. I walk outside my Manhattan home, hail a taxi and tell the driver to take me to the Pumping Iron Gym at 91st Street and 1st Avenue, where I work out for 2 hours. Well, 2 hours is pretty long, to be honest. The ritual is not the stretching and weight training I put my body through each morning at the gym. The ritual is the cap. The moment I tell a driver where to go, I have completed the ritual. It is a simple act, but doing it the same way each morning habitualizes it, makes it repeatable, easy to do. It reduces the chance that I would skip it or do it differently. It is one more item in my arsenal of routines and one less thing to think about. Well, I think, taking an Uber might be cheaper. I don't know. Like, I do not know the prices of Ubers, nor do I know the prices of taxis. Well, I do know some prices of taxis, at least in my hometown. Like, I once actually drove home with a taxi. It was about 5 minutes and I paid fucking $10, And from this point on, I said to myself, I will never ever take a taxi again. Not like really, it is just really expensive, at least in my hometown. I don't know, maybe it just ripped me off, could also be the case, but it was just really expensive, like just really expensive. I mean, like $10 for 5 minutes, it is insane. Still I just get that they also need to just, earn their money, of course. It's not gonna be that fucking cheap, but yeah. So many other famous creatives have rituals too. In his popular book, Daily Rituals, How Artists Work, author Mason Curry notes that many of the world's greatest artists follow a consistent schedule. I think it was also the case for people like Leonardo da Vinci, I guess, and or Vincent van Gogh, if I remember correctly. I think they both had a schedule. I do not want to talk about rituals there, I guess, because I think schedule as a word is just fitting it more or better. Yeah, I think they had I wouldn't say tight schedule, but they definitely had a schedule. I guess. I don't remember, but I somehow feel like, or it was Newton. I think Newton, of course, and Marcus Aurelius, I guess. Just those, I think, high achievers, I would say, or I would tell them or call them. But yeah, so Maya Angelou or Angelou rented a local hotel room and went there to write. She arrived at 6:30 a.m., wrote until 2 p.m., and then went home to do some editing. She never slept at the hotel. Pulitzer Prize winner Michael Cabone, I don't know, writes 5 nights per week from 10 p.m. to 3 a.m. Okay, and Haruki Murakami wakes up, I don't know. I really hope that this is not bothering someone, that I'm just always having just different ways to pronounce names just because I kind of feel like I have to pronounce them, to be honest, but I don't know. I don't fucking know. So Haruki Murakami, let's just, call her like this. It could also be a man. I've once actually made the mistake of having one entire article of only women, and I think it was even in the title of the article, and I was like pronouncing every name. I was pronouncing every name, and I was reading every single name, which means that I was just reading them out loud to just make the point. But the thing is, I still thought like they all were men, and in the end I realized like, okay, they all are women, and I was like, god fucking damn it. But yeah, so Haruki Murakami wakes up at 4 a.m., writes for 5 hours, and then goes for a run. I think you can clearly see that a lot of those high achievers and people that just, maybe do a lot or did a lot, they do just have a pretty extreme schedule, and they of course do some things that other people don't do, like waking up at 4 a.m., waking up at 3 a.m., or just writing till 3 a.m., which is just fucking insane, I have to say. Everybody should do it this way, as it just is the best for this particular person, because we are all individuals. Like, of course, just trying out things like, okay, I'm gonna write from 10 p.m. to 3 a.m. might work for you. It might work for you, and therefore just trying it out is very important. But still, if it doesn't work, changing up is not bad. It is even good, because you can then see, or you just saw, it is not working for me. Therefore, changing it up is the only solution. The work of top creatives isn't dependent upon motivation or inspiration, but rather it follows a consistent pattern and routine. Here are some examples of how you can apply ritual and routine to get motivated. Exercise more consistently. I think it should not only be just because of being consistent or whatsoever, but yeah, just because it is healthy. I think just healthy diet, or having a healthy diet and exercising more, is just one of the things that is really undebatable. Like, everybody knows that it is fucking healthy. It is good for me. Just because, I always try when I'm saying something that might be somehow a generalization of some things, I'm always trying to just see every single perspective and also point out every single perspective, because I do not only want to show one side of a thing. I do not want to show one side of the cube. I want to show everyone, or every side. I want to show everyone every side of the cube. Because I kind of find it important. I don't actually know why I'm doing it, but I find it important. But exercising and proper nutrition is actually those two things that you just have to say there is one side, and the one side is that it is healthy. Of course, there might be another side as well. If you're just doing it to an extreme level, of course, might not be the best thing then, might not be the most healthiest thing then. But yeah, just to the normal degree or just to normal levels, it is definitely healthy and important. But yeah, but I think it wasn't really about whether it is healthy or not. It is really like about how you can make it more consistently, or how you can kind of force yourself to more consistently exercise. He says, use the same warm-up routine in the gym. I think it's a great thought. The thing there is, it really depends on what split you're having. If you're having do you say quarter split, four split, whatever it is. So, for example, if you just have a split, like, okay, you're gonna do back and biceps, triceps and chest, legs and core, independently. Then I think having the exact same warm-up every single time might not be the best thing. Just because, and I think it is a great idea, I really don't want to fuck with the idea, but the thing is, well, if you're working out legs and you're doing just, I don't know, let's say push-ups, it still is warming you up, of course, but I think you should also just warm up the particular body region that you're going to train or work out this particular day, just to prevent injuries, just to get warmed up to the maximum level and whatsoever. But the thing is, I've been talking about working out and warming up in the summary of Bigger, Leaner, Stronger that I was talking about. I think it must be, or it should be, I think a week ago. Yeah, it should really be a week ago. So just look for the videos, look for the podcast. It depends on where you are. And by the way, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, to the YouTube channel, subscribe now. You're not gonna regret it. Yeah. And if you haven't subscribed, or if you aren't subscribed to the podcast already, then also subscribe to this one. I generally think that the podcast as such is actually better than the videos are. I do just really put effort into the videos though, so I'm not gonna be like, well, I just do the videos and fuck with them, I don't give a fuck. But the thing is, the podcast as such is just pretty incredible. Like, you can consume pretty great articles and my thoughts and whatever on the go, which is amazing. And I do just really get why people are actually doing it, just because it saves a lot of fucking time. It really does. It's just a pretty great thing, to be honest. The next thing is become more creative. Good advice. Follow a creative ritual before you start. No, I do not want to have this. No, thanks. Follow a creative ritual before you start writing or painting or singing. Start each day stress-free. Create a 5-minute morning meditation ritual. Sleep better. Follow a power-down routine before bed. Like, I always meditate before I go to bed, actually, and I kind of feel like it is a great way to calm down as well. And I think it just is a habit. And it kind of tells my body, okay, you're now going to sleep, motherfucker. And then most of the time, but yesterday, I'm gonna sleep relatively well. Yesterday was actually one of the really rare days where I wasn't able to sleep that well, and I do not know why. Sometimes I feel like, okay, it is too warm in my room, and then I'm like, okay, I'm gonna just change it up. I'm gonna do something against it and open my windows. I don't like doing it, to be honest, just because there are a lot of insects out there, and I do not want to have them in my room. Especially bugs and some other kind of larger things. Mosquitoes and so on, well, sometimes you can't do anything about it. You don't see them. They're gonna fucking sting you. But yeah, it's not that bad. But having some not mugs, but bugs in your room isn't the best thing, isn't the nicest thing. Yeah. So the power of a ritual, or what I like to call a pre-game routine, is that it provides a mindless way to initiate your behavior. It makes starting your habits easier, and that means following through on a consistent basis is easier. The key to any good ritual is that it removes the need to make a decision. What should I do first? When should I do this? How should I do this? And most people never get moving because they can't decide how to get started. Even though it is really easy, and the thing is, just fucking start with whatever you're having. If you have the equipment or not, just start. Just start. Please, it's just a start. You you want starting a behavior to be easy and automatic, so you have the strength to finish it when it becomes difficult and challenging. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna finish up with this one. So how to make motivation a habit. There are 3 simple steps you can take to build better rituals and make motivation a habit. The first step is a good pre-game routine starts by being so easy that you can't say no to it. You shouldn't need motivation to start your pre-game routine, which is like, okay, you need motivation to get motivation. Well, should not really be the case. So you should not need motivation to start your pre-game routine. For example, my riding routine starts by getting a glass of water. My weightlifting routine starts by putting on my lifting shoes. And these tasks are so easy, I can't say no to them. The most important part of any task is starting. If you can't get motivated in the beginning, then you will find that motivation often comes after starting. It really is the case. And that's why your pre-game routine needs to be incredibly easy to start. So just to get you started actually, just to start, really important. So for more about the importance of getting started, read this. Step 2 is, your routine should get you moving towards the end goal. A lack of mental motivation is often linked to a lack of physical movement. Just imagine your physical state when you're feeling depressed, bored and unmotivated. You're not moving very much. No, not really. So maybe you're slumped over like a blob, slowly melting into the couch. The opposite is also the truth, isn't it? The opposite is also true, but it's also the truth. If you're physically moving and engaged, then it is far more likely that you feel mentally engaged and energized. For example, it is almost impossible to not feel vibrant, awake, and energized when you're dancing. Almost. So while your routine should be as easy as possible to start, it should gradually transition into more and more physical movement. Your mind and your motivation will follow your motivation of physical movement. It is worth noting that physical movement doesn't have to mean exercise. For example, if your goal is to write, then your routine should bring you closer to the physical act of writing, which might be taking a pen, which might be just laying down your sheets of paper. Well, it depends on how you write. If you're writing with your PC, maybe just always putting away your PC or your laptop or turning it off or just doing something that you actually have to physically interact with it so that it can actually write might be an idea. Who knows? The third step is you need to follow the same pattern every single time. The primary purpose of your pre-game routine is to create a series of events that you always perform before doing a specific task. Your pre-game routine tells your mind, this is what happens before I do X. Eventually, this routine becomes so tied to your performance that by simply doing the routine, you're pulled into a mental state that is primed to perform. You don't need to know how to find motivation, you just need to start your routine. If you remember the article on the 3 hours of habit change, then you may realize that your pre-game routine is basically creating a reminder for yourself. Your pre-game routine is the trigger that kickstarts your habit, even if you're not feeling motivated or feeling like to do it. So this is important because when you don't feel motivated, it is often too much work to figure out what you should do next. When faced with another decision, you will often decide to just quit. However, the pre-game routine solves the problem because you know exactly what to do next. And there is no debating or decision making. Lack of motivation doesn't matter. You just follow your pattern or the pattern or that pattern. But there is actually a picture. I try to zoom in a little bit. Do I have a screen that is a little bit bigger? I don't know. So the first one is the reminder, which actually reminds you on your routine, and then your routine gets to your reward. I'm gonna read. So the cue or trigger that starts the habit, example, traffic light turns green. Then the routine, the action you take, the habit itself. The example, you drive through the intersection. And then the reward, the benefit you gain from doing the habit. Example, you get closer to your destination. And then there's another point. If the reward is positive, then you will have a desire to repeat the action the next time a reminder pops up. Eventually, this repetition will form a new habit. Makes sense. And with it being said, wrong one. With that, too fast today. A little bit too fast today. But yeah, with that being said, I wish you the best health, wellness, and also success. Thank you very much for listening and or watching. Yeah. Thank you for listening and or watching. I see you the next time, and I always hope that you're going to remind yourself on how you're gonna be remembered. So basically, your legacy, because we totally have it in our control. It is what we do. Still, we can't serve everyone. Not everyone's gonna like us. It is what it is. Yeah. I see you the next time. Bye.